Hello everyone, today my name is Koji and today we look at Delver. Made by Priority Interrupt and released in an in-development state on March 1st, 2012, Delver is a roguelike dungeon crawler made in the vein of old first-person games like The Elder Scrolls Daggerfall and to an extent, Doom. Now I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, when I started playing this, I was skeptical. I had found it on sale in the $5 and under section on Steam, and seeing it next to the likes of Beam Battles and Hand Simulator did not give me much hope. But thankfully, the worries were for nothing, as I was thoroughly surprised at the quality and love put into this game. I'm going to put this out here right now. Even after dying in the tutorial the first time I booted this game up, I instantly fell in love with it. First of all, the game looks extremely pretty. I've always loved a good retro-styled game, but this adds good lighting, particle effects, and fitting animations, which was a nice way to modernize the style of it. After making a new save file, the game gives you a little bit of story. You play as some guy, and you walk around this area that acts as a short and sweet tutorial, and it teaches you that you can use a ribcage as a weapon and to look at the floor. You go through this grassy area and then into a cave. At the end, you collect the shiny red thing and then proceed to get swarmed by skeletons and die. After this, we get a pretty trippy scene where you touch the not so ready thing and then boom, you're in the hub world now. The goal of Delver is to get the shiny red thing and then go home, which is something that is much easier said than done. The game is broken into 4 levels: the dungeons, the caves, the sewers, and the ruins. Each with their own unique intermission area in between, with the final showdown being in this last area with a name I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce, so here, you do it for me. And there are even some community-made mods that'll alter or even change whole levels if the initial 4 weren't enough for you. This game is not easy. While I wouldn't call it hard, it will make you grind your teeth every once in a while. Gameplay is split into 3 segments: the exploration, combat, and the chase at the end. Each of the 4 levels has 2 floors, and each floor by themselves is still fairly large, so you have a lot of exploring to do. And in this game, exploring really means you find the exit immediately, and then you ignore it to go keep looking for stuff. This game should be called Hoarding Food in a Dungeon because that's all it is, and I love it. The Steam page says that no grinding will save you, which is a complete lie, because the biggest enemy in this game is inventory management, and the only way to get more space is by grinding gold to spend on the only permanent thing that this game gives you, which are the bag and belt upgrades from this freaking guy. Yes, gold transfers over between lives, but that also can be used to get a head start on gear, but who does that? Okay, you might be looking at this clip and saying, dude, you're crazy, you have a bunch of inventory space, but like, what am I supposed to do? This game is designed to turn me into a hoarder. You're gonna constantly need food and potions to stay alive, especially if you want that blasted thick-skinned achievement, which has you take 400 damage in a run. Plus, you need to pick up every weapon you come across because Breath of the Wild took some inspiration for this game and it has weapon durability. And while weapons don't necessarily break, they get dull, which I would argue is even worse because it feels like I'm trying to beat this wizard to death with a piece of flaccid pasta. Why? Plus, to get any of this, you need to break boxes, books, and pots, which takes even more hits on your durability. And this is assuming the game gives you weapons in the first place. I went several games where the first floor didn't even give me a weapon other than the butter knife you start with. But I am gonna throw a bone to the game and assume this is by design, because there are several other ways to deal damage. The traps and floor spikes also work on enemies, and most stages have lava or bottomless pits, which also work too. You even get the EXP for those kills. There are also miscellaneous items, which are more decorative, like plates and mugs, and some guy's femur, all of which can be thrown as a projectile to do damage. I think these decorative items are more for prematurely activating traps than combat, but hey, whatever works. There are also bombs with an arrow and fire variant too, plus explosive pots. The arrow bombs can also be used as a source of free arrows if you're using a bow. I legitimately had quite a blast trying to get as far as I could with only using the non-weapon items, even though I kinda still used a knife to break all the pots and boxes containing all this stuff. The gear in Delver is extremely varied. Melee is melee, but the usefulness of certain stats are far more important on some than on others. For example, the agility stat is far better on big heavy weapons to speed up their attacks, and daggers, which are already fast, benefit from your base attack stat. There are also one- and two-handed weapons, with two-handed often restricting the use of an offhand item such as a lantern or shield, which means that any stat bonuses they give you aren't applied while the two-handed weapon is out. So it adds a lot more strategy than just looking at the damage numbers. Bows also exist, but they are extremely basic and only have different charge up times and distances. Every magic staff, however, works differently. The Fire Wand shoots an explosive projectile that does big damage and has splash, so it can also hit you, so you have to use it smart. Magic Missile essentially machine guns weak magic bullets, Ice slows enemies, Paralyze stops them, and Lightning does lightning stuff. Each staff or wand has a set amount of charges, which can only be increased by leveling up your magic stat, but they are relatively abundant as far as drops go, so you don't have to put points into magic to be a wizard for a run. Some pieces of gear, mostly armor and shields, have a penalty to one stat as well as aiding you to another to balance it out. After progressing through the levels and beating the last floor, you then grab the red orb. This is where our third gameplay segment, the chase, begins. The dungeons will begin to shake and collapse. As you run back to the surface, you will be dealing with anything you didn't take care of on your way down. So enemies that you didn't kill before are still on the floor, as well as the ghost versions of the enemies that will appear anyway. And at the exit of each floor, a lesser version of the final boss and its minions wait for you at the end. And here it's really just wise to just take the damage and run past them. After you escape, you're treated with yet another trippy segment where the game congratulates you on beating the game. And that's it. It lets you do it all over again. It is quite short and it only takes around an hour and a half to beat, which is a shame because there is this teased extra level in the Lost City intermission area that ended up never going anywhere. Your reward for winning is a red orb on your save file with a number showing on how many times you've beaten the game, which, while underwhelming, is still something. There is no difficulty slider, and once you beat Delver once, you kind of experience the entirety of the game has to offer, unless you add self-imposed challenges or mods. The mods here are something special. I wholeheartedly believe that Delver could have a modding scene in the ranks of Minecraft and Gmod if it were more well known. The pieces are here, and the devs openly welcome the modding community. From weapon expansions to letting you jump and changing the in-game soundtrack to Donkey Kong country music, while there aren't a lot of mods to choose from, most of these are of the utmost quality, and I seriously recommend that you check them out. Just one example of the modding potential of this game, I would point you no further than to Hoarding Party. This mod completely abandons dungeons and puts you in a spaceship with aliens, completely transforming the dungeon crawler into a high-octane run-and-gun of the likes of Doom, with a pretty killer soundtrack to boot. I truly can't wait to see how much more the community adds to an already pretty great game. I definitely had fun with the game, but I can't let that overshadow the lack of polish. There is clearly a lot of love put in this game, but by no means is it perfect. There are many parts of the ruins level that you can get stuck in, and if you don't have bombs on you to end your run early, then you will have to reset your save file. There are also been a few games where the exit door just does not spawn in. And the enemy pathfinding can be overall really stupid at times. But these happened rarely, so by no means is this game broken or unfinished. Thank you all so much for watching. These are the mods showcased in the video. All are available for download on the Steam Workshop for free. The creators did such an amazing job and definitely should be recognized for it. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. If you guys enjoyed, please consider leaving a like or subscribe. It is greatly appreciated. I will see you all on the next video.